to my sewing room. I am so excited about our show today. We have a fabulous guest who will be with us a little later, Philip Pepper, who is a creative sewing specialist with the Pfaff American Sales Corporation. Now let me share with you some of the magic of Philip Pepper. This is a beautiful napkin which has the P, and of course that is also for pepper, but I like to believe that's for pulling too. The napkin with the beautiful napkin ring that has been machine embroidered and embellished so beautifully. This is a wonderful, wonderful invention of Philip's. There are the beautiful decorative stitches are on this one piece of fabric, and look, there are two little buttonholes. One is for the knife and one is for the fork. Isn't that beautiful? There's also a wonderful, wonderful placemat to go along with this series, which has the dimensional embroidery and all of the decorative stitches. Absolutely gorgeous, just pure elegance. Now let's look at some of the pretty ladies' things that Philip has brought along to share. This beautiful vest is embroidered just as beautifully on the inside as it is on the outside. I bet I never thought denim could look this beautiful. It even has little flowers that have raised kind of little fuzzy centers that are absolutely beautiful. All kinds of decorative stitches. This is one of my very favorite jackets in the whole world that Philip has done. Beautiful lavenders and greens and couching and raised figures. Let me just turn it over to the back also to show you how pretty this is. This is absolutely a work of art to go into any museum in the world, in my estimation. Another wonderful ladies' vest has beautiful shiny threads in it, as well as ecru on ecru linen. And then there's some beautiful butterflies. You know, my granddaughter Rebecca loves butterflies, so every time I look at these beautiful butterflies, I'm reminded of my sweet little granddaughter Rebecca. This elegant white jacket, white vest, has beautiful raised bows and wonderful ecru stitching. Also, there are just a few little shiny threads built into there also, which give it that little bit of extra oomph. This is a skirt and vest that match. Isn't that wonderful? With the beautiful shiny threads, all of the embellishments, so very elegant and very tailored. Now here is the skirt that goes with that jacket. Very tailored at the top, and then the beautiful matching embroidery on the bottom with some beautiful brads that have been stitched in. A wonderful, wonderful black elegant suit. Wouldn't this be wonderful for almost any occasion? I can almost see this as a symphony suit or a theater suit. It would be so perfect for so many occasions. And once again, let me share with you the elegance of the skirt. I especially like the ecru embroidery on this beautiful black chino fabric. Such a beautiful skirt. And now I'm going to ask Philip to share lots of his magic with you. I'm so happy to have as my guest today Philip Pepper. Philip is a creative sewing specialist with Pfaff American Sales. He's also a very close friend of mine. And Philip, we are so happy to have you back on the show.
Oh, thank you, Martha. It's great to be back. I brought a sample here of a pillowcase I've done, and I've made pin tucks with a special foot that is called a 9mm pin tuck cording foot. What it does is I sew one row, which I'm going to show you in a moment, and then I move over and put the previous row in a guide, under the guide, and then I sew the next row, and that gives me 9mm of clean space to decorate with different stitch programs and different threads later on.
That is a beautiful stitch you've done there, Philip. It almost looks like cross stitch.
Yes, it does. I used a heavier thread to make it more raised and stand up more.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
And then after sewing that, we went back and I just kind of framed it, so to speak, with the wing needle, which we all like to use.
Oh, that's one of my favorites.
So I sewed one tuck already for you, okay? And I'm going to place that under the guide in the foot that's on the right side.
Now, what size needle are you using?
I'm using a 3.0 because it just seems to work best with this foot.
Okay.
Okay? And it tucks just a really nice amount of fabric.
With that wonderful space in between. But you can go back
just
and
kind of a new
and
edge on a pin tuck. So I'll take
those are
this
standing
out.
up beautifully.
And you can see, yeah, they're still very raised, so that's going to make it easy for me to do the next step. I'm going to take a spool of thread out, and I'm only going to use one for this. And I'm going to take the double needle out because I'm going to sew one decorative stitch in between those two rows. Now again, whoops, let's use this needle. If they wanted to, they could put 2 spools of thread to the eye of one needle, or they can do what I'm doing and just use an embroidery rayon thread. Now, I need stabilizer for this. Okay. We didn't. This was lightly starched so that it handled better under the foot. But for this, I'm going to use a lightweight tearaway because this is a real involved stitch program.
Now you're still using that same foot.
Yes, ma'am. Same foot.
Right.
And we're going to take the little pin tuck guide out. As you can see, when I put this under the foot has now the 2 tunnels to help me guide. And so I can't make any mistakes.
And your pin tucks fit right under those tunnels.
Right. We'll select a decorative stitch. This happens to be one of my favorite, which of course you saw on the pillowcase, and it's like a, well, like a cross stitch, like you said.
I really love that one. What I especially like is the fact that those pin tucks, there is no mistake that can be made. Those pin tucks.
Cannot do this wrong.
Well, you're not even using your hands.
No, I know.
Look, Mom,
it's like a railroad track. It's forced to track underneath there.
That is really fascinating.
And there are other ways that they can use these pin tuck feet. We could have corded with number 5 pearl cotton underneath so that it was always raised, but I like to press these over so they lay flat like a real tuck. There are a number of ways to make tucks, as I'm sure they have seen.
And that beautiful cross-stitch type embellishment is running exactly down the middle of that. Such perfection, such perfection.
And the ecru's pretty on the blue there too, isn't it?
Well, Philip, I like all your color choices and all your beautiful things.
Well, thank you, Martha.
Well, Philip, now let's put it over there so they can see that just a minute.
Now I would press these flat. You see how nice they lay flat?
Yeah. And it kind of looks like a real tuck. When you use that 3.0 double needle, it really does look
almost looks like you did it by hand.
Yeah, like on the antique clothes we've had so many of. Well, Philip, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you,
now
Martha.
then, Philip has done a beautiful night shirt to share with you. Philip has done the most exquisite embroidery on this wonderful, what we're calling our baseball shirt nightgown. And you know what? I would love to use this for a robe, Philip, to put the ribbons right there and just tie it for tie one ribbon. Look at his beautiful decorative stitching. Now, Philip, I see once again you've used that wonderful 9mm pin tuck foot, made your beautiful pin tucks, and then done this beautiful stitching down the side.
Right.
You know what? These big decorative stitches are so pretty too. And Philip, you've even done little triangles in here, and then more of these wonderful wide pin tucks, which I absolutely adore. All the decorative stitching that comes down the front, and you know what I especially would like to show our viewers? The beautiful scalloped hem, done with the machine scallop all the way around the bottom of this beautiful outfit and beautiful nightshirt outfit. I guess you'd call it an outfit too. That is absolutely beautiful what you've done. You know what else I like is you've done the wing needle entredeaux.
That's right.
You've done the wing needle entredeaux to finish up. To actually hem stitch the sleeve, you have done a real hem stitch.
All in one step.
Oh, absolutely. It's wonderful.
Trimming.
Philip, show us what you've done there now.
Okay, I have the, that is the fine batiste Nalona, and to do the scallop, what I don't want them to be afraid of is to sew on just one layer.
Like you and I used to be.
Right,
just afraid to
right.
do anything on that beautiful, expensive fabric.
Exactly, and I didn't want a lot of stuff to tear away.
Okay.
So I starched it heavily, and also this makes the hem so easy to do, quick and easy, because all you do is sew your scallop, and look how smooth that is. There's no puckering.
Did you just starch that heavily?
2 or 3 times, and then I let it dry, or if you're in a hurry, you can iron it dry. It's just plain old
use a
starch.
hairdryer.
Or a hairdryer, yes.
Look at the beautiful scallop on that.
No problem at all.
And you didn't have to put anything to pull away or tear away or press away.
And something that would be scratchy and always show. It's just too much trouble.
So pretty.
So
Went all the way around the bottom, the front and the back.
and you notice here that on the gown that you at some point will be on the bias, but you still don't have to be worried or concerned because you've starched it, and you can see that you have the beautiful hem and no puckering. And
That is truly magnificent.
Now, I would suggest that before trimming it, they treat it with a fabric sealant, just lightly along those edges.
Just around the bottom before
On
you
the
trim it.
bottom.
You know, several people have told me that, and I think that's an excellent idea.
We're almost always going to cut the wrong thread. All of us do at some point. So that keeps it from
You mean
showing.
we're not perfect?
No, we try, but we're not.
That's right.
Now on the next step, on the sleeve, I wanted that to incorporate the heirloom sewing also, so I put the hem stitch needle in, and you could use a 90 or a 100, it's your choice. Now I don't use built-in needle threader with the wing needle because it simply won't work.
So you use the wing needle here then?
And I think this is a 120, the larger one. Now I turned it under, and I'm going to sew with the right side up because with this Nalona I can see my raw edge, and that way I catch it all in and it's all done in one step and there's no trimming. So I selected one of the Entredo programs on the machine, and I'm going to start. I can see my red line is right over my raw edge, and it's catching in that raw edge and hemming it at the same time.
Once again, you've got perfect tension and no stabilizer.
Oh, yeah.
How much did you starch this 2 or 3 times too?
2 or 3 times, and I tell you, you will get a minimal amount of puckering with the hem stitch needle, even with the starch, but you take it over your iron and it comes right out.
This comes right out.
Comes right out.
Well, Philip, the original hem stitching, and that is what it was for, is to do exactly what you're doing, is hem stitching on the old machines that were around 1900. And I am so happy that we have new machines now that do the hem stitching.
Oh, it just, and it looks so much like commercial hem stitching. You see, I can even press that lightly out, and it's still just, the little minimal amount of puckering still comes out.
Well, you have done 2 beautiful hem stitches on the machine, and also they were both used actually for hemming on this beautiful gown.
Exactly.
The hem that went right around to actually hem the sleeves, and that wonderful scallop around the bottom. And I especially love your beautiful ecru thread on your pink.
It does look good, doesn't it?
Philip, thank you so much for being on the show. We always love to have you, and I do so appreciate the beautiful things you've made for the show.
Thank you so much,
And
Martha.
now then, I have a small excerpt for you on the business of sewing. One of the ways of promoting your sewing business is to go to your local library. Ask the librarian when you might be able to have the window. You know that big window as you go in libraries? It's called the educational window. Ask him or her when you might be able to put an educational display and tell them about your sewing. Now, some of the things you would want to include would be maybe an antique sewing book or an antique magazine. You know, the delineators were not totally sewing magazines, but you could open up to a page where there was some sewing or some old patterns on it. You might take some old photos or some new photos of children or adults wearing the clothes that you've made. Certainly put up some of the things that you have made yourself. I would use other books, maybe some modern patterns, and maybe a little bit about the history of whatever type of sewing you're doing. And then I think discreetly, most people would be allowed to put a little business card maybe over in the corner, and your business card certainly should say custom sewing by or sewing lessons by, and your name and your telephone number. That's just a really good way of getting free advertising, except it really isn't advertising, it's public relations. But if you make a really nice educational display for your library, they probably will leave it up a month, and it's really great exposure. And now we have a silk ribbon stitch for you. I'm so happy to have as my guest today Beverly Sheldrick from New Zealand. Beverly has been on the show for several years now, bringing us her beautiful embroidery designs. She's also a guest editor for So Beautiful magazine. Beverly, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Martha. It's always great to be here.
I'm completely fascinated by this beautiful nightgown that you have done, which is one of our patterns for this series. And I'm especially enchanted by this extremely unusual and beautiful design with the lace shaping and the pink applique and the beading. Tell us about this design, Beverly.
Well, that would be a pleasure, Martha. I call this the stained glass technique. And it came about one night when my husband and I were sitting out in the courtyard, and my husband suddenly said, I've got a design for you. He said, just look at those windows. And we have this stained glass above the main windows all around our house, in my sewing room and his study and several other rooms in the house. And I looked at it and I thought, yes, now that has possibility, something a little bit different. It is, of course, the same stained glass technique that quilters use in their work, but I haven't seen it done in lace before, so there was the challenge, something new for you. So this is what we do. You can see that I took a panel and I drew it all up and then traced the design onto the fabric, I have then cut myself little templates, which I have then put down. I'd like you to notice that these two, the leaves here and these leaves here, are cut in the one piece, just like this, as you can see here, the wings. Also, the two pieces that have the embroidery on, the silk ribbon embroidery, the central section and the rosebud over here, you will see that I've cut them in one piece again. But when we turn it over, we see on the rosebud section I've only got this very, very lightweight batting on behind here. Obviously, if it was on something a little bit stronger, we could put a fusing, but if you were going to use a fuse, then it's got to be a really soft one, nothing hard, because on clothing it wouldn't be comfortable. So you can see there it is there, and that one will go there, and then also on this one like that, so that will go there. You will see how I have placed these pieces there. Now we're going to look at the way way in which we put the lace, because there is a very definite sequence to the way you put your lace. I want you to start with these leaves over here, and you also treat them as two leaves, not as one, as we did with the template. So we'll go right over here like this, and then we'll move and we'll do the leaves here, but we're only starting here, just this leaf section, not this like that. Then we will go round the embroidery here like this, and then put in this piece that comes from the rosebud to this oval here, and put in the stem which comes round to here. Then you will take your lace and you will come from this point here, go all the way round like this, and come right the way round, and then back to this opposing point here. And then, of course, finally we will put the piece that will come around the rosebud here. We will put this piece that comes around here, this wing section, and finally this section going right round the central section here, like that. Now, the lace shaping is, you will see I've used this lovely little beading that we have, and we're going to, I'll just pop my glasses on so I can see, and then I'm going to center the lace so that one half is on the white, one half is on the pink, and we will just put it like this. I want you to notice, please, that the outer curve is kept flat like this, and the pins are put across like this. And Martha, this is a time when please don't be mean with your pins. Be a wealthy lady and use lots and lots of pins, because
please don't be mean with your pins means what?
It means use a lot.
Use a lot. Okay, Beverly.
This is why we call them, you've got to be wealthy with your pins.
Okay.
But you will see that because we are doing it like this, we will get quite bubbly on this inner curve side, but the part to be really pay attention to is this outer curve. So that's always the rule. Pay attention to the outer curve. What happens in here doesn't matter. The pins, you'll find, will help to keep the bubbling section. They divide it, and so that when you come to pull it up with your string in the normal manner, then this will just even out beautifully.
I love the way that you lay it flat on the table and you didn't use a pinning board. Now, is that the way it's traditionally done in New Zealand, Beverly?
It is. I'm afraid most people in New Zealand don't have those lovely big boards. I'm afraid by the time they get to New Zealand, they're very expensive.
Okay, okay. Oh, Beverly, thank you so much for sharing this wonderful stained glass lace shaping.
That's a pleasure.
And now I have a craft for you. It's amazing to me how much attention people pay to a piece of little handmade crafted jewelry. This is a really beautiful one. I'd love for you to try it and see if people don't think it's very beautiful. The little pin is made up of all kinds of different things simply hot glue gunned together. It has a royal blue silk dopione background. You know what I might do? I might just turn it over so you can see how the back is also finished real nicely. But let's go back to the front. It has all kinds of little goodies, including some ecru French lace, a little purchased rosebud, and then even a little gold piece that goes out to one side, and it really looks like a little clock, although it isn't. Now this is really easy to make. First of all, I have my royal blue or marine blue silk dupione. I have a little slice in the top, and I've traced my heart off on a cardboard. Now I don't have my glue gun here, but you can just envision. We're going to pull it down and around, and then we're going to glue it together. Now really this is the front of the little pin. Why can we have little pieces showing on the front of the pin? Because mostly we're going to put glued things all over the front of that pin. All right, after we cover our heart, the next step is to come in with the little round heart purchased at a craft store, and then we'll start all of our other little pieces. Next we're going to come in and shape some of our French lace in there, and I'll have to come in here and kind of squish it down just exactly right and glue it. And then on top of that is going to come another little heart piece, and then this cute little fake clock is going to go on top of that. And then we're going to come over to the side, and there will be the little purchased ribbon, and this little fan, which is really kind of cute, will have to go down before the purchased ribbon goes down, so it will come out. Now, flip it all over to the back and put one of these little jewelry finders on it, the little clasp, and then you have a really elegant little Victorian pin to wear. And now won't you come along with me to my attic? I purchased this beautiful, beautiful little girl's dress in England several years ago. It is one of the most magnificently embroidered dresses in my collection. Absolutely beautiful hand embroidery all across the bodice. And this is an interesting idea that'd be really easy for us to copy today. The beading, in other words, the slots that the ribbon is run through, is simply a buttonhole. So you see, you can use your buttonhole holder on your machine and make your own beading by simply running buttonholes along. Look at the handwork on this skirt. I just think it is out of this world. It is so pretty. With the fileterie and the shadow work and the satin stitch and just the beautiful ribbons that seem to almost dance across the bottom of this skirt. And then the bottom has a very beautiful buttonhole stitch done in the most exquisite scallops you've ever seen. Absolutely incredible. I just cannot imagine the number of hours that went into making this dress, but I'm glad somebody did because I think all of us will enjoy it. For our Sewing from the Heart today, I have a letter from Shirley Beal from Dale, Indiana, and she writes about the Huntingburg, Indiana American Sewing Guild chapter. This last year, they made 130 baby dresses, premature and baby dresses for mothers who were poor and didn't have anything to take their children home from the hospital in. They made cancer caps for the hospital. They made walker caddies. They made angel gowns, and all of these were donated to the Memorial Hospital in Jasper, Indiana. Shirley, thank you so much for sharing what your friends at the American Sewing Guild in Huntingburg, Indiana have done for those in times of trouble or for those less fortunate. Shirley is from Dale, Indiana. Thank you so much for joining me in my sewing room today. I have had the best time, and most importantly, I hope you have had a lot of fun also. It's always so much fun to be able to come into your home with you, and we really do appreciate each and every one of you who joins us each week. Thank you so much, and I hope you will be back with us next time.